Commander Lee Hyun stared at the green glow of the sensor screen. The numbers did not lie. Deep in space, something big was moving toward Earth. He had seen these readings before, 27 years ago when he was just a boy hiding in the basement with his family. The Void Collective was coming back. The lunar base called Sanctuary sat hidden on the dark side of the moon. No windows showed the black space outside. Only screens and lights filled the control room where Lee Hyun worked. He pressed a button and spoke into his headset. Dr. Park Yuna to the command center. Priority 1. Minutes later, the door opened. A woman in her 50s walked in, her gray hair pulled back tight. Dr. Park Yuna carried a data pad in her hands. She had been waiting for this day for almost 3 decades. How long do we have? She asked without saying hello. Lee Hyun pointed at the screen. The energy signatures are still at the edge of our solar system. Based on their speed, maybe 6 months before they reach Earth. Dr. Park nodded. She had studied the alien ships for years. Every piece of metal that fell from the sky during the last invasion. Every broken weapon, every fragment of their technology. She knew more about the Void Collective than any human alive. This time will be different, she said. Lee Hyun looked at her. How can you be sure? Dr. Park touched her data pad. Numbers and charts filled the screen on the wall. Look at this. Every 27 years they come. Always from the same direction in space. Always using the same flight paths. Always taking the same things from our world. She pointed at a chart showing dots connected by lines. They move from star to star like farmers checking their crops. Earth is just one field in their giant farm. But knowing their pattern does not make us stronger, Lee Hyun said. No, but it gives us something we never had before. Time to prepare. Doctor. Park changed the image on the screen. Now it showed the solar system. Red dots marked locations around planets and asteroids. We are not the same humans who waited helplessly last time. We have spread across space. Hidden bases on Mars. Secret colonies in the asteroid belt. Weapons platforms near Jupiter. Lee Hyun studied the map. So many red dots. So many places where humans now lived and worked in secret. The government really built all of this? Not just one government. All of them working together. After the last invasion, the whole world understood. We could not fight them on Earth and win. So we learned to hide in the dark spaces between planets. A new sound filled the room. An alarm. Bell rang 3 times. Lee Hyun looked at his screen. Captain Kim Do-hyun is requesting permission to launch his squadron. Tell him to wait, Dr. Park said. We stick to the plan. Captain Kim Do-hyun commanded the Void Hunter squadron from his ship called Silent Strike. His fleet of 12 vessels sat hidden in the shadow of a large asteroid. Each ship looked different from the old human designs. They had no bright metal surfaces, no lights that could be seen from far away. These ships were built to disappear in the darkness of space. Kim Do-hyun had been born during the last invasion. His parents died when the aliens took them for their experiments. He grew up in the underground cities training for this moment. Every day for 27 years, humans had prepared for the return of the Void Collective. Sir, we are getting signals from Earth Command, his communications officer said. Put Dr. Park through. The woman's voice filled his bridge. Captain Kim, remember what we learned from studying their ships? They expect us to fight the same way as before. Big fleets meeting in open space, cities trying to defend themselves with ground weapons. And we will not do that this time, Kim Do-hyun replied. Correct. Your ships are faster and harder to see than anything we had before. Use that advantage. Strike from the shadows and disappear. Make them wonder where we are and what we can do. Kim Do-hyun looked at his crew, young men and women who had trained their whole lives for this war. We understand, Doctor. The hunters become the hunted. Back on the lunar base, Lee Hyun watched more signals appear on his screen. Not just the main alien fleet, but smaller, ships spreading out ahead of them. Scout vessels looking for any changes on Earth or in the space around it. They are following the same pattern as always, Dr. Park said. Send scouts first. Map our defenses. Look for new technology or weapons. then decide how big a force they need to take what they want. But this time the scouts will not report back, Li Hyun said. That is the plan. On Earth, people went about their normal lives. They went to work and school. They watched movies and played games. But under the surface, things were very different. Every major city had hidden bunkers that could hold millions of people. Underground factories produced weapons and supplies. Train systems moved through tunnels that connected continents. General Kang Sun-woo stood in one of these hidden command centers under Seoul. Around him, hundreds of people worked. At computers and communication stations, on the big screen at the front of the room, a map showed the whole planet. Green dots marked human settlements. Blue dots showed hidden weapons. Red dots marked places where aliens had landed before. Status report, the general said. A young officer stood up. All evacuation routes tested and ready. All weapon systems online. All communication networks operating normally. But General Kang knew that normal was not good enough this time. The Void Collective had taken millions of humans during each invasion. They used human bodies for medical experiments. They took human minds to study how people think. They stole human art and music and stories to add to their collections. This time, the aliens would find something they had never seen before: humans who refused to be victims. Send the message to all stations, General Kang ordered. Operation Dark Hunt begins now. Across the solar system, human forces received the signal. On hidden bases near Mars, soldiers checked their weapons. In the asteroid belt, miners turned off their lights and prepared their ships for war. Near Jupiter, scientists finished loading the last of their research data into secure storage. The Void Collective had come to harvest Earth many times before. Each time they found a world that tried to hide or fight back with primitive weapons. This time they would find something new. They would find humans who had learned to live in the darkness between stars. Humans who had spent 27 years becoming predators instead of prey. The pattern was about to break, and in the cold darkness of space, humanity waited with teeth bared and claws ready. Fleet Commander Nexus Prime floated in the control chamber of his massive ship, called Eternal Harvest. His 6 arms moved across holographic controls as he studied the readings from their sensors. The third planet from this yellow star looked exactly the same as it had 27 years ago. Perfect. The humans on this world had always been easy to harvest. They built their cities in obvious places. They sent signals into space that could be tracked from far away. They fought with simple weapons that could barely damage Void Collective armor. Send the scout ships toward the inner planets, Nexus, Prime commanded. Follow the standard harvest protocol. Around him, other members of his species worked at their stations. The Void Collective had perfected the art of harvesting over millions of years. They knew exactly how to take what they wanted from any world. Scout Group Alpha is moving toward the 4th planet, reported his tactical officer. Scout Group Beta is heading for the asteroid belt. Scout Group Gamma will check the outer moons. Nexus Prime nodded with satisfaction. Soon they would have detailed maps of human defenses. Then the real harvest could begin. But something went wrong almost immediately. Sir, we have lost contact with Scout Ship 7, the communications officer announced. Equipment failure, Nexus Prime said without concern. These old scout ships break down sometimes. 10 minutes later, another scout ship went silent. Then, another. Within 2 hours, 6 scout ships had vanished without sending any distress signals. This is not normal, the tactical officer said. Meanwhile, hidden behind a spinning asteroid, Lieutenant Choi Minji watched the alien scout ship on her screen. The enemy vessel moved slowly through the space between Mars and Jupiter, scanning for human activity. Target locked, her weapons officer whispered. Fire, Choi Minji ordered. The stealth destroyer Silent Dawn launched 2 missiles. The weapons had no metal parts that could be detected by alien sensors. They used human technology that the Void Collective had never seen before. The missiles struck the scout ship and tore it apart in seconds. Enemy destroyed. Moving to next position, Choi Minji reported over the secure channel. Her ship Silent Dawn looked nothing like the old human vessels. Its hull was covered in material that absorbed sensor beams instead of reflecting them. Its engines produced almost no heat signature. In the darkness of space, it was nearly invisible. "This is Hunter 2, came another voice over the radio. "Second target eliminated near Europa." Hunter 6 reporting. "Target down in the asteroid belt." One by one, the human hunter ships reported successful kills. The alien scouts died without ever knowing what hit them. For the first time in their long history, the Void Collective was fighting an enemy they could not see. On Mars, Colonel Yoon Tae-ho stood in the command center of New Seoul Colony. Around him, thousands of people prepared to evacuate. At least, that was what it looked like. "Load the civilian transports," he ordered over the intercom. "All families with children board first." But Yoon Tae-ho smiled as he spoke. The civilian transports were actually military ships disguised to look harmless. Each one carried a full company of human special forces. The evacuation was really the largest troop movement in human history. "Sir, the fake distress signals are ready to broadcast," his communications officer reported. "Send them out. Make it look like we are panicking." The signals went out across space. Messages that seemed to show humans running in fear, colonies begging for help, defense forces retreating to Earth. It was all part of the plan. The Void Collective had always won their battles by making humans feel helpless. This time, humans would use that expectation against them. Back on the Eternal Harvest, Nexus Prime grew more worried as reports came in. Or rather, as reports failed to come in. 18 scout ships had now vanished without a trace. "Could the humans have developed new weapons?" his science officer asked. "Impossible," Nexus Prime replied. "We took samples of their technology during the last harvest. They barely understand basic energy principles." But deep in his mind, doubt began to grow. In millions of years of harvesting, the Void Collective had never lost this many scouts. Something was different about this system. "Deploy the heavy reconnaissance ships," he ordered. "Send them in groups of 5, full shields and weapons active." The heavy reconnaissance ships were much larger than the scouts. They had thick armor and powerful weapons. Nexus Prime was confident they could handle whatever was destroying his scouts. He was wrong. Lieutenant Commander Park Soo-hyun commanded the attack cruiser Midnight Fang from her position near the moons of Saturn. When the alien heavy ships entered the outer system, her ship was ready. 5 targets confirmed, her tactical officer reported. Range, 400,000 kilometers. "Launch ghost torpedoes," Park Soo-hyun ordered. The ghost torpedoes were another human innovation. They moved, slowly and quietly through space, looking like chunks of space debris. The alien ships never detected them until it was too late. The first torpedo struck the lead alien ship and disabled its engines. The second torpedo hit another ship and destroyed its weapons. Within minutes, all 5 alien heavy reconnaissance ships were floating helplessly in space. "Board them," Park Soo-hyun commanded. Human Marines in powered armor jetted across space to the disabled alien ships. They moved through airlocks and corridors, capturing alien crew members and stealing their technology. Everything the Void Collective thought they knew about human capabilities was wrong. On Earth, General Kang Sun-woo received reports from across the solar system. Every alien scout group had been eliminated. Every reconnaissance mission had failed. The Void Collective was flying blind. "Phase 1 complete," he announced to his staff. "The enemy cannot see our real preparations. Now we move to Phase 2. Underground weapons factories increased their production schedules. Hidden missile bases powered up their launch systems. Across the planet, millions of human soldiers prepared for the fight of their lives. But they were no longer preparing to defend their homes. They were preparing to hunt. Nexus Prime floated in his control chamber, staring at empty screens where scout reports should have been. For the first time in his long life, he felt something his species rarely experienced. Fear. "Send a message to the High Command," he ordered. "Request additional harvest fleets. This world may be more dangerous than we thought." But even as he sent the message, Nexus Prime knew it was too late to change their approach. The Eternal Harvest. And its escort ships were already too deep in the system to retreat. They would have to complete the harvest or die trying. In the darkness between planets, human ships moved like deadly shadows. They had spent 27 years learning to fight in the cold emptiness of space. They knew every asteroid, every moon, every hiding place in their solar system. The Void Collective had come expecting to find frightened prey waiting to be taken. Instead, they found predators lurking in the dark, patient and ready to strike. The hunt had begun. Captain Song Ji-hyun checked her equipment one last time. The stolen alien breathing mask felt heavy on her face, but it would keep her alive inside the enemy ship. Around her, 5 other human soldiers prepared for the most dangerous mission. In their species' history, they were going to sneak inside the main alien harvest ship. "Remember, we have exactly 4 hours," Song Ji-hyun told her team. "The alien shift change happens every 4 hours. That gives us our window." Corporal Lee Bora nodded as she packed explosive charges into her equipment bag. She was the smallest person on the team, which meant she could fit through alien ventilation systems. "How big is this ship supposed to be?" 15 kilometers long, replied Sergeant Park Dowan, their technology specialist. "It has over 2 million alien crew members. We are like ants trying to break into a city." Their transport ship looked exactly like an alien supply vessel. Human engineers had built it from pieces of destroyed enemy ships. Even the computer systems spoke in alien languages. If their disguise worked, they could dock with the harvest ship without being detected. "Approaching the target," their pilot announced. "Alien ship Eternal Harvest is directly ahead." Song Ji-hyun looked through the small window. The alien ship was enormous. It looked like a dark mountain floating in space, covered with lights and weapons. Smaller ships moved around it like insects around a giant beast. "Remember why we are doing this," she told her team. Dr. Park discovered that their entire fleet uses one central computer network. If we can plant Sergeant Park's virus in their main system, we can blind their whole fleet. The alien ship's docking bay opened to receive them. Their stolen transport moved inside, past huge alien machines and storage containers. Song Ji-hyun held her breath as alien workers approached their ship, but the disguise worked perfectly. The aliens waved them toward an empty docking space, just like any other supply delivery. "Phase 1 complete," Song Ji-hyun whispered into her radio. "We are inside." The team moved carefully through alien corridors. Everything was built for creatures much larger than humans. The ceilings were 4 meters high. The doorways were wide enough for 3 people to walk through together. Strange symbols covered the walls, glowing with soft blue light. "This way," Park Dowan said, checking his stolen alien navigation device. "The central computer core is in the middle of the ship." They passed alien crew members who paid no attention to them. The breathing masks and stolen uniforms made them look like just another maintenance team. Song Ji-hyun was amazed at how easy it was to hide among the aliens. But then they reached a restricted area. "Identity verification required," announced a mechanical voice in the alien language. Park Dowan stepped forward and placed his hand on a scanning device. He had spent weeks preparing for this moment, studying how alien security systems worked. The scanner beeped and turned green. "Access granted." They entered a vast chamber filled with glowing screens and data streams. This was the information center of the alien ship, where millions of pieces of data flowed every second. "Look at all of this," Lee Bora whispered. The screens showed images from hundreds of worlds, planets with strange blue skies and purple oceans, cities built by alien species that humans had never seen. And on every screen the same thing was happening. The Void Collective was taking people away from their homes. "My God," Song Ji-hyun said. "How many worlds have they attacked?" Park Dowan was reading the alien text on the screens. His face grew pale. "According to this data, they have harvested over 50,000 different planets. Each one had intelligent life. Each one had families and cultures and dreams. And now they are all gone," Lee Bora said quietly. The screens showed the terrible truth. The Void Collective did not just take resources from planets. They took everything. They stole entire civilizations and stored them in giant biovaults. Art and music and literature from 1 million different worlds, all locked away in alien storage facilities. "Earth is just the newest addition to their collection," Park Dowan continued reading. "They plan to take 90% of our population for experiments. The rest will be left to breed more humans for the next harvest. Song Ji-hyun felt rage building in her chest. Not if we stop them first. Can you access their central network? From here? Yes. But I need 15 minutes to upload the virus without being detected. You have got it. Meanwhile, on Earth, General Kang Sunwoo stood in his command center watching the real battle begin. The alien main fleet had finally reached Earth's orbit. Dozens of massive ships hung in space above the planet, their weapons pointed downward. They are preparing to land, his tactical officer reported. Enemy troop transports are launching from the main ships, but General Kang was not worried. Let them come. Activate the surface defense network. Across Earth, hidden weapons systems came online. What looked like ordinary buildings opened up to reveal missile launchers. Peaceful. Farms lifted up to show underground bunkers filled with soldiers. Even the ocean floor erupted as submarine platforms rose to the surface. Sir, we are detecting over 10,000 hidden weapons positions, the tactical officer said with amazement. 27 years of preparation, General Kang replied. Every major city has enough firepower to destroy a small fleet. Every mountain hides a fortress. Every lake conceals a weapons platform. The alien troop transports descended toward major cities, expecting to find helpless humans waiting to be captured. Instead, they flew into the most concentrated anti-aircraft fire in human history. Missiles rose from every direction. Energy beams lanced up from hidden positions. The alien ships began falling from the sky like burning meteors. Back on the Harvest, ship Song Ji-hyun's team fought their way deeper into the vessel. Alien security forces had discovered their presence and were hunting them through the corridors. How much longer? Song Ji-hyun shouted as she fired her weapon at pursuing aliens. 5 more minutes, Park Dowan replied, his fingers flying over the alien computer interface. Lee Bora threw explosive charges behind them, sealing off corridors to slow down their enemies. We have got company coming from 3 directions. The virus is almost loaded, Park Dowan announced. 90% complete. An alien security officer appeared around the corner pointing a massive weapon at them. Song Ji-hyun dove sideways and returned fire. The alien's weapon beam missed her by centimeters, burning a hole in the wall behind her. Upload complete, Park Dowan shouted. The virus is in their system. Immediately, the lights in the corridor began flickering. Alien voices could be heard shouting in confusion as their computer system started failing. Time to go, Song Ji-hyun ordered. They ran through darkening corridors as the alien ship's systems crashed around them. Emergency lights flashed red, doors opened and closed randomly. The virus was spreading through the entire fleet's network. In space around Earth, the alien ships began losing coordination. Their weapons stopped firing in organized patterns. Their shield systems flickered on and off. The massive Harvest fleet that had seemed unstoppable just minutes before was now blind and confused. This is our chance, General Kang announced to all human forces. Begin Operation Rising Storm. From hidden bases across the solar system, human ships emerged from the darkness. They had been waiting in the shadows of planets and asteroids for this exact moment. Now they struck with everything. They had. The hunt was no longer a game of hide and seek, now it was war. Admiral Ryu Min-seok stood on the bridge of his flagship Defiant Hope, watching as human ships emerged from hiding places throughout the solar system. After 27 years of waiting, humanity's hidden fleet was finally revealing itself. Status. Report from all battle groups, he commanded. Battle Group Alpha reporting from Mars orbit. 12 ships ready for combat. Battle Group Beta at Jupiter. 24 ships in formation. Battle Group Gamma in the asteroid belt. 36 ships, awaiting orders. The numbers kept coming. Hidden bases that the aliens had never detected. Ships built in secret factories. Weapons that used technology the Void Collective had never seen before. Total fleet strength, over 200 vessels, his tactical officer announced. Ryu Min-seok nodded with grim satisfaction. The alien Harvest fleet still outnumbered them, but the humans had advantages the aliens did not expect. They knew every inch of their own solar system. They had studied alien weaknesses for decades. Most importantly, they were fighting for their survival. All ships, this is Admiral Ryu. He broadcast across the fleet. Today we stop running. Today we stop hiding. Today we show these invaders that humans are not prey anymore. Begin the attack. The human fleet moved like a pack of wolves. Small groups of fast ships struck at the confused alien vessels, then disappeared back into the darkness. Larger battle groups focused their fire on enemy command ships. The aliens found themselves fighting on multiple fronts at once. On the research station near Ceres, Dr. Shinhana watched streams of intercepted alien communications flow across her screens. For years, she had studied the fragments of alien technology left behind from previous invasions. Now she could finally understand what the aliens were saying to each other. Admiral Ryu, this is Dr. Shin, she broadcast to the flagship. I can hear their battle communications. They are trying to regroup near Neptune, but their quantum network is still damaged from the virus. Can you tell us their next move? Ryu Minseok asked. Dr. Shin studied the alien messages. They are arguing among themselves. Some want to retreat. Others want to use planet-killing weapons on Earth. Their fleet commander is trying to maintain control. But the lower-ranked aliens are starting to panic. This was exactly what human strategists had hoped for. The Void Collective had won every battle for millions of years. They had never faced real resistance before. Now that their easy conquest was turning into a difficult war, they did not know how to react. But the aliens still had one major advantage. Their ships were much larger and more powerful than human vessels. In a direct fight, any alien warship could destroy several human ships. Captain Kim Do-hyun understood this as he led his squadron in an attack on an alien destroyer. His 12 ships moved in complex patterns, never staying in one place long enough for the alien weapons to target them. Hunter 7, strike the engine section, he ordered. Hunter 3, target their weapon systems. All other ships keep moving and draw their fire. The human ships darted around the massive alien vessel like fighters attacking a giant. They struck with precise hits, then vanished before the alien ship could respond effectively. It was like watching a school of fish attack a whale. Enemy, shields are failing, reported his weapons officer. Continue the attack pattern, do not let them recover. But even as his squadron won their small battle, Kim Do-hyun could see the larger picture. The aliens were adapting quickly. They were learning to work together despite their damaged communications. Some of the smaller alien ships were beginning to hunt human vessels with new tactics. On Earth, the battle for the planet's surface raged in the skies above every major city. General Kang Sun-woo coordinated the defense from his underground command center, watching as thousands of alien dropships descended toward populated areas. Enemy landing attempts in progress at Seoul, Tokyo, New York, London, and Sao Paulo, his operations officer reported. Release the second wave of surface defenses, General Kang ordered. What happened next amazed even the human defenders. Buildings that looked normal from the outside transformed into weapons platforms. Skyscrapers opened to reveal missile batteries. Shopping centers became bunkers filled with soldiers. Even children's playgrounds lifted up to show anti-aircraft guns underneath. The aliens had expected to find defenseless cities full of frightened civilians. Instead, they found that every human settlement was actually a fortress designed to look peaceful. Enemy casualties are extremely heavy, the operations officer announced. Most of their landing forces are being destroyed before they reach the ground. But General Kang knew the real test was still coming. The alien fleet commander would soon realize that a ground invasion was impossible. When that happened, he would probably decide to destroy Earth from space rather than let it remain free. Inside the alien flagship Eternal Harvest, Fleet Commander Nexus Prime was reaching exactly that conclusion. His ship's systems were slowly recovering from the human virus, but the damage was already done. Half of his scout fleet was gone. His troop transports were being shot down over every human city. Worst of all, the humans were fighting with technology that should not exist. How did they advance so quickly? He demanded of his science officer. Unknown, Fleet Commander. Our last harvest showed them using primitive chemical rockets and basic nuclear weapons. Now they have stealth technology and quantum communications. Nexus Prime studied the battle reports flowing across his screens. Every assumption about human capabilities was proving wrong. These creatures had hidden their true strength until the perfect moment to strike. Prepare the planet killer missiles, he finally decided. If we cannot harvest this world, we will destroy it. No other species must learn that the Void Collective can be defeated. But as his weapons crews prepared the ultimate weapons, Nexus Prime received an urgent message from his tactical officer. Fleet Commander, we are detecting multiple human ships approaching our position. They appear to be on a collision course with our vessel, on the bridge of a human assault ship called Last Stand. Major Han Junho led 200 Marines toward the most dangerous mission of the war. Their job was to board the alien flagship and prevent it from destroying Earth. Remember, we only need to hold the ship for 30 minutes, he told his troops over the intercom. That will give Admiral Ryu enough time to destroy the planet killer weapons. The assault ship had no stealth systems, no advanced shields. It was designed for one purpose: to ram through alien defenses and deliver soldiers directly to the enemy ship. It was a suicide mission, and every Marine on board knew it. 2 minutes to target, the pilot announced. Han Junho looked at the faces of his soldiers, young men and women who had trained their entire lives for this moment. They knew they probably would not survive, but they were ready to die to save their world. For Earth, he said quietly. For Earth, they replied in unison. The assault ship struck the alien flagship's hull and burned through the metal with cutting beams. Immediately, human Marines poured through the breach into alien corridors. They moved like a flood of determination, fighting toward the ship's weapon control center. The aliens had superior technology and larger numbers, but the humans had something more powerful: the desperate fury of a species that refused to be harvested. Behind them, more human assault ships struck the alien vessel. The flagship that had seemed untouchable just hours before was now crawling with human soldiers, fighting for their lives and their world. The greatest battle in human history was reaching its climax. And in the darkness between stars, the outcome would determine whether humanity survived or joined the millions of other species in the Void Collective's storage vaults. Sergeant Park Dowan's virus spread through the alien fleet like fire through dry grass. One by one, the massive harvest ships lost their ability to coordinate attacks. Weapon systems shut down randomly. Navigation computers provided false readings. Even the life support systems began malfunctioning on some vessels. Captain Song Ji-hyun and her infiltration team fought their way through the darkening corridors of the flagship Eternal Harvest. Behind them, alien security forces were closing in, but ahead lay their escape route back to their hidden transport ship. The entire fleet is going blind, Park Dowan reported as they ran. Their quantum communication network is completely compromised. They cannot talk to each other anymore. Good, Song Ji-hyun replied, firing her weapon at pursuing aliens. That gives our fleet the advantage they need. In space around Earth, Admiral Ryu Min-seok watched as the tide of battle shifted. The alien ships that had seemed so coordinated and deadly just minutes before were now stumbling around like blind giants. All battle groups, begin concentrated attacks, he ordered. Target their largest vessels first. Human ships emerged from behind asteroids and moons, striking at the confused alien fleet. They moved in perfect formation, following battle plans that had been rehearsed for decades. While the aliens struggled with failed communications, the humans fought as a single coordinated force. Enemy flagship is taking heavy damage, reported his tactical officer. Multiple hull breaches detected, but even as the human fleet pressed their attack, Ryu Min-seok knew the danger was far from over. The aliens still had planet-killing weapons. If they decided they could not win the battle, they might choose to destroy Earth rather than let it remain free. Inside the alien flagship, Major Han Junho led his Marines through corridors filled with emergency lights and alarm sounds. They had fought their way to the ship's central weapon control center, but the real battle was just beginning. There, Han Junho pointed at a massive chamber ahead of them. That is where they control the planet-killer missiles. The chamber was defended by dozens of alien soldiers, each one twice the size of a human. Their weapons could cut through human armor like paper. But the human Marines had spent years training for exactly this kind of fight. Remember, we do not need to win, Han Junho shouted to his troops. We just need to buy time. The Marines charged into the chamber, firing everything they had. The aliens were stronger and better armed, but they were not prepared for the desperate courage of humans fighting for their home world. Private Yon Suman threw herself at an alien weapon console, even as enemy fire burned through her armor. With her last breath, she planted an explosive charge that destroyed the targeting systems for half the planet-killer missiles. Corporal Nam Ji-ho held off 6 alien soldiers with nothing but a damaged rifle and pure determination. He died standing over the body of a fallen comrade, but he bought precious seconds for other Marines to reach their objectives. One by one, the human soldiers sacrificed themselves to destroy alien weapons and control systems. They turned the mighty flagship into a battle zone where every corridor was contested and every room became a fortress. But the aliens were adapting. Fleet Commander Nexus Prime realized that his advanced technology meant nothing if he could not coordinate his forces. He began issuing orders through direct physical contact, sending alien officers to carry messages between ships. "Manual weapons control only," he commanded. "Prepare the remaining planet-killer missiles for immediate launch." Dr. Shin Hana detected the change in alien communications from her research station. "Admiral Ryu, they are switching to backup systems. The virus cannot stop them from using manual controls." "How long before they can fire their planet killers?" Ryu Min-seok asked. "Based on their ship design, maybe 20 minutes. 20 minutes to save the world. All ships maximum attack speed," the Admiral ordered. "We end this now." The human fleet abandoned all caution and threw everything they had at the alien flagship. Ships that had been hiding in the shadows revealed themselves. Secret weapons that had been saved for desperate moments were finally used. Captain Kim Do-yun led his squadron in a final assault on the flagship's weapon systems. His ship's silent strike had been damaged in the earlier fighting, but he pushed it beyond its design limits. "Sir, our engines are overheating," his engineer warned. "Keep pushing," Kim Do-yun replied. "We only need 10 more minutes." His weapons officer looked at him with concern. "Captain, if we maintain this power level, the ship will explode." Kim Do-hyun looked at the alien flagship growing larger on his screen. Inside that ship, human Marines were dying to give the fleet this chance. On Earth below, billions of people waited to learn if they would live or die. "Then we explode," he said simply. "Fire everything we have." The silent strike and its squadron unleashed every weapon they carried. Missiles and energy beams struck the alien flagship's hull, tearing through armor that had protected it for centuries. Other human ships joined the attack, concentrating all their firepower on the enemy's weapon systems. On Earth, General Kang Sun-woo watched the space battle from his command center. The planet's surface defenses had successfully stopped the alien ground invasion, but that victory would mean nothing if the planet killers launched. "Sir, we are detecting energy buildup in the alien flagship," his sensor operator reported. "They are charging their main weapons." General Kang closed his eyes for a moment. After 27 years of preparation, after all the sacrifices and planning and hope, it might still not be enough. "All surface batteries, target the alien flagship," he ordered. "Every missile we have, fire them all. From every hidden base, on Earth, missiles rose into the night sky. Thousands of them carrying humanity's last hope. They climbed through the atmosphere and into space, racing toward the alien ship that threatened their world. Inside the flagship, Major Han Junho found himself face-to-face with Fleet Commander Nexus Prime in the main weapon control room. The alien commander was enormous, with 6 arms and skin like metal armor, but his eyes showed something Han Junho had never seen in an alien before. "Fear. You cannot win," Nexus Prime said in broken human language. "We have harvested 1,000,000 worlds. Your species will join them all." Han Junho raised his weapon even though he knew it could barely damage the alien's thick hide. "Maybe we will lose, but we will make you remember us." Around them, the ship shook as human missiles struck its hull. The lights flickered as power systems failed. Through the chamber's windows, they could see human ships closing in from all directions. For the first time in millions of years, the Void Collective was facing an enemy that refused to surrender. An enemy that would rather die fighting than live in captivity. "You do not understand," Nexus Prime continued. If we cannot harvest your world, we will destroy it. No other species must learn that resistance is possible. Then you do not understand us, Han Junho replied. We would rather die free than live as slaves. The alien commander reached for the manual firing controls for the planet-killer missiles. Han Junho threw himself forward, knowing he could not stop the massive alien but determined to try. Behind them, more human Marines burst into the chamber. The final battle for Earth's survival was about to begin. In space around the flagship, every human ship in the solar system converged for the ultimate assault. They came from Mars and Jupiter, from the asteroid belt and the outer moons. Ships that had been built in secret, crews that had trained in darkness, weapons that had never been tested in real combat. The harvest was over. Now it was time for the reckoning. Major Han Junho threw himself at Fleet Commander Nexus Prime, just as the alien reached for the firing controls. The two beings crashed into the weapon console, sparking electricity flying around them. Han Junho was half the alien's size, but he fought with the desperation of a man defending his entire species. You cannot stop the harvest, Nexus Prime roared, swinging one of his 6 arms at the human. Han Junho ducked the blow and drove his combat knife toward the alien's chest. The blade barely penetrated the thick hide, but it made Nexus Prime step back from the controls. Maybe not, Han Junho gasped. But I can try. Around them, the flagship Eternal Harvest shuddered under the assault of every human ship in the solar system. Explosions echoed through the corridors as missiles struck the hull. The lights flickered as power systems failed one by one. More human Marines burst into the weapon control room. They fired everything they had at the alien commander, knowing their small weapons could not kill him but hoping to keep him away from the planet-killer controls. In space outside, Admiral Ryu Min-seok watched his fleet pour every weapon they had into the alien flagship. The massive ship was dying, but slowly. Too slowly. Damage report on the enemy vessel, he demanded. Heavy structural damage, but their main weapons are still operational, his tactical officer replied. If they fire the planet killers now, we cannot stop them. Ryu Min-seok looked at the tactical display. His fleet had lost over 30 ships in the final assault. Brave crews who had given their lives to get this close to victory. He would not let their sacrifice be meaningless. Prepare the flagship for ramming speed, he ordered. His crew stared at him in shock. Sir, that will destroy our ship. And hopefully their weapon systems too. Ryu Min-seok turned to his communications officer. Send a message to all ships, continue the attack. Do not stop firing until the alien flagship is completely destroyed. The Defiant Hope turned toward the alien vessel and began accelerating. Around it, the remaining human ships intensified their assault. Captains who had trained for 27 years for this moment pushed their vessels beyond every safety limit. Captain Kim Do-yeon's ship, Silent Strike, was already critically damaged. But he followed his admiral's example. All power to engines, he ordered his crew. We are going to ram their weapon systems. Sir, the ship will not survive, his engineer warned. Neither will Earth if we fail, Kim Do-yeon replied. One by one, human ships began suicide runs against the alien flagship. They struck like hammers against an anvil, each impact weakening the massive vessel's structure. The aliens had never faced an enemy willing to die for victory. Inside the flagship, Nexus Prime finally broke free from the human Marines and reached the weapon controls. His 6 arms moved across the firing sequence, activating systems that could crack a planet's surface. Now you will see what happens to species that resist the harvest, he snarled. But as his finger touched the final firing control, something unexpected happened. The weapon systems did not respond. What is this? Nexus Prime stared at the dead controls in confusion. Behind him, Sergeant Park Dowan smiled weakly as he bled from multiple wounds. My virus had a second phase. It activates when the weapons try to fire. The alien commander spun around to see the human technology specialist connecting alien data cables to his portable computer. Park Dowan had used the chaos of the battle to access the flagship's backup systems. Impossible, Nexus Prime roared. Your primitive technology cannot interface with our systems. Primitive? Park Dowan laughed, even as alien weapons fire burned. around him. "We have been studying your technology for 27 years. We know it better than you do." The weapon systems sparked and died as the virus completed its destruction of the alien ship's most critical systems. The planet-killer missiles would never fire, but Nexus Prime was not finished. He grabbed a handheld weapon and pointed it at Park Dowan. "If I cannot harvest your world, I will at least kill you." The alien weapon charged with deadly energy. Park Dowan closed his eyes, knowing he had done everything he could to save Earth. The shot never came. Commander Lee Hyun appeared behind Nexus Prime, having fought his way up from the lunar base sanctuary. His powered armor was damaged, and his weapon was nearly empty, but his aim was perfect. A single shot struck the alien commander in the back of his massive head. Nexus Prime, leader of the most successful harvest fleet in Void Collective history, fell forward and died on the deck of his own flagship. "This is for every human you took," Lee Hyun said quietly. Outside the ship, the battle was ending. The alien fleet, leaderless and blind, began to scatter. Some ships tried to flee toward the edge of the solar system. Others simply shut down their engines and waited for death. Admiral Ryu Min-seok's flagship struck the alien vessel's main hull and tore a kilometer-long gash in its side. The Eternal Harvest, which had seemed invincible just hours before, broke apart in a cascade of explosions. "All ships, cease fire," Ryu Min-seok broadcast as he watched the alien flagship die. "The enemy is defeated." Across the human fleet, exhausted crews cheered as they realized they had won. After millions of years of successful harvests, the Void Collective had finally been stopped. On Earth, General Kang Sunwoo stood in his command center watching the celebration begin in every human city. People poured into the streets, crying and laughing and embracing strangers. For the first time in their history, humans had faced the harvesters and won. But the victory came with a terrible price. Dr. Park Yuna studied the data recovered from alien ships and felt her heart break at what she found. "How many?" asked Lee Hyun, who had returned to the lunar base. "Over 50,000 intelligent species," she replied quietly. "All of them stored in biological archives across the galaxy. Entire civilizations reduced to genetic samples and cultural artifacts. And now?" Dr. Park touched her data pad, bringing up star charts that showed the locations of Void Collective storage facilities. "Now we have a choice. We can hide in our solar system and hope no other harvest fleets come, or we can take the fight to them." Lee Hyun looked at the star map. So many worlds. So many species that had suffered the same fate Earth had barely avoided. "What does the leadership say?" "Admiral Ryu wants to build a liberation fleet. General Kang thinks we should focus on defending Earth. The politicians are divided, but the choice was already being made by ordinary humans across the solar system. In shipyards around Mars, workers began constructing vessels designed for interstellar travel. In training facilities on Luna, soldiers prepared for campaigns that might last decades. In research labs throughout the asteroid belt, scientists worked to unlock the secrets of faster-than-light travel. Captain Song Ji-hyun, recovered from her wounds, stood before a recruitment office in New Seoul Colony. The sign read, "Galactic Liberation Force, see the universe, free the oppressed." "You know it will be dangerous," the recruiting officer told her. "We might never come back to Earth." "Earth is safe now," Song Ji-hyun replied. "But there are billions of beings out there who are still waiting for rescue. Entire species locked away in alien storage vaults. They have been waiting for millions of years. And you think humans can free them all?" Song Ji-hyun looked out the window at the ships being built in orbital construction yards. Vessels that combined human innovation with captured alien technology. Ships designed to hunt in the darkness between stars. "We learned to hide in the dark to survive," she said. "Now we will use that darkness to hunt our enemies. The Void Collective has ruled the galaxy for too long. Time for them to learn what it feels like to be prey." 6 months later, the first human liberation fleet departed from Earth orbit. 50 ships carrying 20,000 volunteers on a mission that would take them farther from home than any human had ever traveled. They carried no flags or banners, but their message was clear. The harvest was over. The time of freedom had begun. Behind them, Earth continued to build more ships and train more crews. The planet that had once cowered in fear of alien raiders was now becoming the center of galactic resistance. In the depths of space, ancient, void collective bases received their first reports of human attacks. Storage facilities that had operated unopposed for millennia suddenly found themselves under assault by strange ships that appeared from nowhere and vanished back into the cosmic dark. The roles had reversed completely. The hunters had become the hunted. And in the darkness between stars, humanity began the long work of illuminating the galaxy with freedom. They had come again, like they always did. But this time, humanity had been waiting in the dark, and the darkness had made them strong.